Actually, this one's for coming in here.
Coming on in.
I'm gonna keep it like this. I know it's
Perfect. Perfect.
if that's what you want. Oh, hey there. Thought I turned that off. Hold on, y'all are over here just moving. Instagram Live is just thought I turned it off. I guess I did not. And we're back. Hi. I know this is the first time that we've gone live from the Mindful MIsfit Instagram, but we have it, so we might as well. It only makes sense. Happy Monday, June, what is it, the 27th?
28.
June 28th. Oh, it's a whole vibe. It's a 10-day, which means it's a 1 day, which means that we're super spiritual today. And we're going to talk all about it. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Trying not to be all blown out behind me, but it may just be that way.
You're going to put a bag up there? Is it real bright?
It is real bright.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you doing over here?
I'm all right. Getting used to it.
We're putting bags in the window on this side, and then there's something's happening downstairs. I think it's probably just going to be one of those days. Do we sound okay? Okay, cool. Happy Monday. Like I said, June 28th. Welcome to the Mindful MIsfit. It's a shirtless kind of Monday. I'm Alove. To my left, Lizzy B. To my right, ShayLeigh. We are happy to bring you the latest scoop and as much information as possible from the grounded spiritual perspective. It's interesting to be here. Class was great this morning. First of all, I texted you guys this morning about just some things that we could potentially talk about on the show. One of them being an ever present, what I think is really present right now in our field, in the collective field, which is past lives. I think that that's what we're dealing with probably more than anything. So I just doop, pop it like in your little brain. You don't have to fixate on it, but just pop it in there as a topic that we are going to discuss here in just a minute. And I have a little game that I want to play. It's kind of like a presence of mind thing. And then second, it went away. Oh, I was going to do a card pull like right off the bat. Just kind of see what the energy is. You feel like it's going to be very exposing? I think so. It's just my thinking. While I do that and while you sage this mofo, how you doing? How's it going?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Making it through the Monday.
Making it through the Monday?
Yeah.
Do you feel like most of your Mondays are like this?
Not really.
It's just
Today
this
is
one?
just a weird one.
A
Yeah.
weird one.
I had my weird one last Monday, so I'm all filled up from the weird one. So
Are
I
you?
feel great today.
That's
Yeah,
good.
today's perfect.
Um,
Sorry that yours is weird, Shay, but I know we'll
It's
get through
alright.
it.
You
It
know,
won't
those-
stay weird.
Yeah.
Stay weird.
Those float through every now and again.
yeah, they do. Okay.
They're good to have. for
I
the
was
contrast.
wondering. I
Pretty.
saw it.
Had a crown on too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh.
Oh, well.
Oh,
that one came
this
out.
one. I love this one. Haven't pulled it in a long time.
Oh, nice, Crow.
Okay. So what we have so far is butterfly spirit transformation is beautiful. In reverse, we have peacock spirit, let it shine. I have a feeling I know what that's about. Crow spirit, co-create with spirit. That is a constant. I love this. The number on that is 17. And last but not least, wombat spirit. And this is the collective pull. This is like what everybody, not everybody, but people who are, how do I want to categorize this? People who are probably in touch with themselves in some capacity. There's a lot of people walking around out there who have shut down their connection to ultimately to themselves. And so I feel like this, when we talk about the collective, because we haven't even defined that. What is the collective? What does that even mean? When we talk about the collective, we're talking about generally people who are um, connected in some way, who have remained connected in some way, even if they don't know it. There's a lot of people walking around with that. Oh, and always, I'm going to go ahead and just take that for myself. Horse spirit, it's always one that I adore. Okay, so what I think about this transformation is beautiful. It feels like there is the word that comes to mind is resistance, resistance to transformation. And so, Butterfly Spirit has come to remind us that we should embrace the transformation, even though it is not at times. Um, there isn't, oh, and it's an 11. There is, it feels like there's not beauty in the process, but the entire amalgamation of the process itself is beautiful. And we need to not okay, we need to not get fixated on the end result. There is beauty in the entire process. Okay, that's opening.
Definitely.
Okay, peacock spirit, let it shine. And it's in reverse, so this is probably what I feel about peacock spirit being in reverse, is that again, there is resistance here. There is resistance to, like, this transformation is happening. We should embrace all of the parts of the transformation. But right now, I think what we're going to bump up against, probably this week in particular, is really allowing everything that we have worked on and all of the transformation that we have experienced to really manifest in life as we're moving through life. And the way that we do that, probably the best, is to continue to co-create with spirit. I never pull this, and it's when I actually have a crow tattoo. I never pull this card, but it is a very deep reminder for us to continue to move along with spirit, even though right now we cannot probably see past the end of our nose as far as what is coming next. That is where we should come into a place where we are as deeply tied into what is happening with um, mother and father god as possible. And I think this is also, so spirit, did you guys know that holy spirit is feminine energy?
I never really assigned any kind of like
Yeah.
side to it,
Gender.
honestly.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gender
Yeah.
fluid
Yeah.
spirit. Gender
So
fluid spirit.
in
How does
Holy
she
Spirit
identify?
is thought as so when you have the masculine, the creator God, right? And then you also have the spirit. Holy Spirit is a female spirit that is all encompassing. It is thought to be that. And so in particular in these past probably couple of weeks, expressly I feel like in the past couple of days, over the past weekend, some things that I've seen, some things that we even experienced this morning in class. The hand of the mother is all over everything. There is a lot of really big mother energy. And the more that I personally tap into that, the better off everybody is. When I can move away from being in a place of, God, I got the burps and I'm hungry and all the things, the more that I can move away from being in a necessary masculine power, the better off things are now. I spent a lot of time working this weekend, so
The grind.
that does
Yeah.
tap in. It's like gotta step into that too. But it's creative energy that we're using with what we're building, so it's
Yeah.
nice. Last, oh yeah, right. Okay, so we're co-creating with spirit. A lot of feminine energy moving in and through. The crow is also the what I get when I think about crow, or when I intuit any information about crow, it itself is also, I associate it, maybe it's just because of the word association, with crone, with like an older
Oh, interesting.
wise woman,
Yeah.
right? Who is I mean, traditionally, when we think about it, like she's the witch that's in the woods with the big war on her nose, and she's like a recluse. But a crone in itself, we have three phases as a woman: the maiden, the mother, and the crone. It feels like those of us who have really put in the work, particularly in our feminine energy, and this is energy, this is not even male, female. Those of us who have put in the work in regards to allowing that female energy to come forth have graduated. We have moved into this space where we are in more of a crone energy, which is definitely taking ownership of who you are and how you show up, and not allowing these things that were had us questioning our identity and questioning our worth and questioning um, what it is that we're even doing here and how we show up. It feels, particularly for me, it feels like that's gone. I'm not fucking with y'all anymore. Essentially. And then last, wombat spirit, inverted. It's be at home. And look, he's got a little crown. Did you already say
I
that?
like that.
He's
No,
got a
I
little
don't think you
crown on
mentioned the
his
crown
head.
on him.
He's so
Yeah,
cute.
on the wombat.
I mean, of all of the, it's interesting that the wombat is like one of the cards that she's put in here. It's not like an animal that you would think of making an oracle deck.
Like a super spiritual,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Creature.
Beautiful,
yeah.
No,
majestic.
it's not, but it's
No.
so cute and it's asking us to be at home. And I love how it's got the globe, like kind of it's set inside of the globe, like it's the earth, and you can clearly see that it's kind of on the ground. It feels like one thing that we are not doing, and I have expressly been working on this, we did it a lot in class today, grounding, ground.
Mhm.
As we are moving into, so when it says be at home, that's the impression that I get, is to spend more time grounding, spend more time doing the things that anchor you here to this here and now, so that you can reach up and be in a place where you can co-create with spirit. You can only be as spiritual as you are grounded. Beyond that, if you are not finding yourself in a place of a balance between those two things, your shit's whack. And you honestly, when I'm in a place where I'm out of balance, I don't want to teach, I don't want to share anything with anybody because I know that's detrimental. And so grounding here seems really important. And ultimately, I probably just pulled this for selfish reasons, because it does feel really personal to me. But horse spirit is freedom is yours. This is a space 33. Anytime 33 comes up for me, that is automatic Yeshua Mary energy, but it's Yeshua and Mary married together. It's the two of them moving together. And I have never noticed before that she has on some of these cards, she's put, and this is the Colette Baron Reed Spirit Animal Oracle deck, that she's put like some kind of orb in the background of a lot of these. The butterfly spirit, to me, it looks like a full moon, which, transformation. And it also looks like there are arms coming up from below the butterfly, like kind of holding it up and allowing this butterfly to take off. But then all of these other butterflies that are associated with that one. So, as you in particular allow yourself to move into and through your transformation, you by nature allow other people to do the same and find beauty in their own transformation. Now, why I say that about horse spirit is because this looks like the moon to me. And if you can kind of see that orb running around the outside, um, the moon, right now we're in Cancer. Do you have Cancer in your chart?
Mm-mm.
Do you have Cancer in your chart?
Not prominently,
Oh,
but I know.
my moon is in Cancer. And
Mm.
so like right now it's like it's like all of the we are coming into a place where we are learning to master our emotions and to not have our emotions, because Cancer is emotion, right? It's like roiling below the surface underneath the shell. It's all soft and gooey in the middle. And it is closely associated with the moon. It's a moon sign. And so there is freedom within yourself through mastering your emotions and not having them dictate how it is that you behave in the outside world.
Truly.
Truly,
Mhm.
100%. And that's where we're at right now. And if you want to, and feel, no, 33 in association with Yeshua and Mary, because as far as in the Western world is concerned, the deities that we have been exposed to who were masters in this way, those were the two. I mean, he flipped some tables and did some other stuff, but on top of that, as far as having the emotional control to endure something like a crucifixion, to know that that is imminent, like that is something that is going to happen, and not run away from that,
Stay true.
stay true to that all the way through, and have people who were claiming to be his closest confidants and people who were there to learn with him and perpetuate his own teaching betray him, and also know that that betrayal was happening because he's psychic. I think that's really what's happening.
He was not concerned with the outcome.
He was not concerned
He
with
was
the outcome.
definitely on the journey.
He was on the journey, but he was concerned of with the outcome for the greater good of the whole, and not just the outcome for
But the
what is happening
crucifixion.
within himself.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like that's probably a lot. That's a pretty deep read. I moving into this week, I think there's probably some unexpected things, but also things that you can anticipate to draw you back into this space where you are feeling less free. You are challenged with your co-creation. You are going to be prompted and poked and maybe triggered a little bit by people who are um, hmm, potentially from the past, who you have soul ties with, who are looking for some resolution in regards to their own transformation. These things are coming up in order to allow you to flex in this completely new you that you have created.
Yeah, feel that.
Mhm.
That resonates big time. I've
Mhm.
been grounding the fuck out of myself. I ain't have no shoes on right now. No. And I haven't been I've been walking around barefoot, which is fine as Texas.
It's
Yeah.
Texas. It's
Mhm.
hot.
Took
The
2 barefoot walks yesterday.
Oh man, it
It's
feels so
good.
good.
It
It's the
does.
best. It's the best. So what does it even mean to ground?
Mm.
What does that even mean? Like when I say that to you, yes, physically it's walking around like with our feet in the dirt, but what on top of that is grounding?
For me, it's like connecting to nature, but also going within, finding comfort in my space, making time to be in that space and get into the present and quiet my mind.
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
gonna say for me, it's like a full body and mental calming that I notice.
Mm.
But yeah, through the same noticing nature, being really present in the moment so that you can actually take it all in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it is a lot of sensory things too for me. So like drinking hot, like odoriferous teas or like lavender tea or whatever feels nice to me. Burning Palo Santo, um, yeah, being like with a comfortable like bedspread, like
Mhm.
comfortable loose clothing,
Mhm.
just being like just just myself, just
Comfort,
me.
comfort,
Yeah.
and how do you show up grounded around other people in an environment? Clown
I
in the corner.
think from it just feels like not taking on any others sort of energy, right?
Mm.
So being able to hold space for people, engage, but also not um be drawn into like still staying very sovereign in where my emotional state is in my present moment, regardless of the weather outside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
less
Mm.
internal fluctuations based on what's going on. I'm
Hmm.
more able to maintain that like grounded, sovereign, like you said, state to where less affects me
Mm.
from the
Through
external.
grounding activities. Like
Hmm
if you were to
Grounding to me is peace.
Sure,
That's what it is for me.
got
Like
it.
probably because we do so much up here too. It's like the time to get away from that, to
Mhm.
break from that,
Mhm.
and that's
Mhm.
peaceful.
Hmm.
So what would you say are your top 3 if you had to give 3 activities that you do that help to ground you, what would they be?
Barefoot walks,
Okay.
planting,
Mm.
doing anything with my plants,
Mhm.
um, and swimming. Any sort of water. Those are
Yes.
like my big
I swam for like 5 hours on Saturday.
Great. That's awesome.
Oh, it's a whole new, it was like what it had been calling to me for weeks. Go to the water, Adrian. We know this. all of the things. Go in
Yeah.
the water. What are you doing? Get in the water. Go get in the water. I got in the water and it changed everybody's life. For sure.
That's a thing too. Is like the more that we can be at peace with ourselves, then the more we can offer to other people around us too, in support and just adoration and whatnot. What floating is always
I
my
was just
number
gonna
one.
ask, do you
Floating
feel
is
like floating is grounding to you?
very much so, because
Okay.
I just
It's
get
kind of
right
fun,
here. I love it.
huh?
Yeah, it's the perfect way to. It's like washing away things. It's refreshing. It's completely relaxed. It's like again some of the sensory stuff. So it blocks out a lot of my hearing because my ears are under the water. So yeah, floating for sure. And dancing though, like on the other
Mm,
end, if I can get a good bedroom dance like nobody's watching
say you're
session
good to
in,
go.
that feels real good.
Nice.
Yeah. But I like rest a lot too. So quiet time in a comfortable space with things that are comforting around me. So usually like burning some smudging, some sort of
You just like to burn
smoke.
some shit.
I like smoke and I like water. Smoke. So smoke is another one. It's probably the fire sign thing.
Yeah.
But smoke is definitely very soothing. So lots of candles. I have a ton of candles, and when the sun goes down and I have time off to be in that space, I light them up. Yeah.
Sun, moon, rising. What are they?
It's sun is Sagittarius, rising is Aries, and moon is Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
I know how I even function.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how I function in this world with that combination, but I do.
But
You
I
know what it
do.
is? It's just consistency showing up, and I feel like that's where, I feel like that's where we really shine and like build trust with
Mhm,
individuals.
mhm,
Is and like I just reflect on some of the feedback that we've gotten from friends who have met us through this kind of platform, and saying that we fill a space that is untouched otherwise, and like
mm,
support them in a way that nobody else in their life or other activities in their life have really tapped into them in that way. And so it just feels really nice to know that it's because like, yeah, last Monday I was like super tearful. I didn't necessarily want to be here. Like, it's not that I didn't want to be with y'all, I just didn't necessarily want to do this, and I even cried a little bit, and it's just okay,
and it's on the internet, and
and it's
it's
on the
fine.
internet forever.
It's fine.
It's whatever. And so, but the thing is, like, I feel like we're an experience to be had, right? It's not
Mhm,
just a description. It's like, so watch the follow through, because that's what ultimately happens. It's like
mhm.
we just keep showing up
Yeah.
and like consistently showing up, and people are like, oh, they're back. Oh, it's great to see your faces
They
here.
did it
It
again.
was really different when y'all weren't here. I like that a lot.
You like that one?
I do like that one
That
a
was
lot.
good.
I was like, oh, notable.
Yeah.
Yeah, a notable departure. Okay, well, we're back. Just remember that.
Come get some.
Take good care of us.
Yeah,
We out
exactly.
here for real. Yours,
Sun,
sun.
moon, rising.
Mm-hmm.
Libra sun, Scorpio moon, Aries rising.
How do you feel like that shows up for you?
Cool.
I feel like most people, I don't know, I either get taken as a Libra right off the bat, or people think I'm more of like an Aries right off the bat. I think that like fieriness comes through in the way I work and the way I kind of like go about things sometimes,
Sure.
the fiery side.
Yes, I
Um,
feel the fire.
but then the
A double
Libra
down.
side, I always am like a little indecisive or
Sure.
seeing both sides of the story, you
Sure.
know? So
Yeah.
that's pretty prominent too.
Yeah.
But,
I
and
think
Scorpio, you know, it's just like, yeah.
just a really deep knowing
Scorpio
of all the
moon.
things
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
What else? Everybody's brain. Um, Scorpio sun, Aries rising, Cancer moon. That is, and what's interesting about that is that like the combination of those things, it everything that I've read validates like this. It's just like you, what were you talking about when you didn't know that it was like that? What was it?
This could
Oh
be
my
a
God.
number of things.
Yeah, that's
When you're like, oh, that's okay. Like, because you don't have any context for it. So you just are walking around thinking about the way that something is, not recognizing that it's just like that for you. What was it? Damn it. It might have been about the sensory thing. It might have been about like the extra sensory, like being really sensitive to things. But um
I think maybe it
was it that?
when you were like getting a lot.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
getting
yeah.
bombarded.
They're like,
Yeah.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, that's something. Not everybody has that. That's a real thing that you're experiencing,
Yeah.
right? And so I feel the same way about like
Or
this.
the floaters.
Oh,
Was it the
I
floaters?
It
think
might have
so.
been the
And the
floaters.
eyeballs.
So we had this whole conversation about like I don't know if you guys out there in the world are experiencing this, but I and Shay and then our other friend Katie have been experiencing an increase in like the visibility of these little like shiny, glossy, wormy things, but they're not everywhere. And they seem to be at poignant times, like when we're together or experiencing something, and they seem to be in very specific places, like at the kids' school and at Casa de Luz and in the trees, like certain trees, you can see them. And I have always gotten the impression that that is a we what we are seeing is like a one aspect of something that is much greater than that. I think it's a very real thing that we're seeing because the energy feels different whenever I see these things. So you can imagine that Carl Sagan actually did the best explanation of how you visualize things through different dimensions. And so if you are one dimension, I think it's actually two dimensional, something that is three dimensional that comes into your space because you are flat, you're only going to see one aspect of that thing as it drops down on you. So let's say that this is a two dimensional, which it's flat. We're just pretend that this paper, it doesn't have another side. It's flat. And all of these flat people can only move this way, that way, and this way, right? They can move
Mm-hmm.
up and around like this, but they can't go up and down because they're
Right.
two dimensional, right? And so then this three-dimensional creature comes, woo, and it comes in, and these flat people that live in flatland are existing here, and this three-dimensional thing comes, but they can only see up. So the only aspect of this three-dimensional thing that these two-dimensional people can see
It's like
is
the end of
this
it.
point right here,
Mhm.
right? And so unless this thing flips this way and they can see this whole side, they can only see one side. Same thing happens with our vision in regards to things that we're seeing extra dimensionally. And so four-dimensional, five-dimensional things are until our awareness comes into this space where we are able to take in more of our senses, we're only going to pick up on one aspect or a couple of aspects of that with our eyes, with our ears, whatever sense it might be. And so these little squiggly things that we're seeing in the trees, that we're seeing in these other places, I think are just an aspect of something much larger extra dimensionally. And I saw somebody actually took a picture of it on Instagram and put it on this Instagram account that I love called Puberty,
I follow that one
Puberty.
too.
Oh, they set it off. They're so good.
That's good.
Yeah. And so I saw it there, and all of the comments were like, "Y'all see that too? You've been seeing that? Oh my god!" Me and Shay were like, "Well, there it is. Look, I can't believe he took a picture of it." And Elizabeth was like,
That's floaters. Like it's a reflection of your eyeball, like the back of your eye. So either what I'm seeing is just floaters and I don't see the squiggly things, or you guys are seeing the squiggly things and they're not floaters. They're two different things.
right? I
Yeah,
think they're
for
two
sure.
different things.
But I think they are described and appear
not very
similarly because they're translucent tubular structures, is how I
Right.
would describe like the floaters that I
Yeah.
see.
Mhm.
They're like translucent tubular
like hazy.
structures. Yeah. And they're constant, and I don't see them here right now because it's usually on a flat background, and I think that's how I know that what I'm seeing is not.
Is different because
Yeah.
ours is like it's a multi-dimensional 3D thing that we're seeing like in the
Yeah,
trees or
and
whatever.
mine will
It's
be
not
like
flat.
I could probably like if I focus here on this flat wall
could see
behind
it.
you, or like a blue sky with no clouds.
Yeah.
That's I fully see them there.
See,
Yeah.
and it doesn't happen that way. It's like
Right.
out there. So
No, it did remind me when you were talking about it just now.
Mhm.
It did remind me of something I mentioned to you like a long time ago, but it was about and it was induced by LSD in my teen years. I did some experiments.
Gotta love it.
With myself. others.
Sometimes I want to go back to that, put a pin in it. Boop. Oh, continue.
I'm good. I'm so good. I'm filled up, and you can pin it, and we can go back there. But there was this one time where, and this may make a little of you nervous because I also drove my vehicle while I was on LSD a multitude of times. However, there was this one time where
Did you go to outer space? Get it, losers.
We went some places. We went some places. We did some things. But there was this one time I had this Mitsubishi Galant, and me and Bestie, we were hanging at these friends, and like we were about to leave, and then got in the car because I thought.
Sidebar: if you're not pronouncing it Mitsubishi Galant, then what are you even doing with your life?
So and I'm like, we should go. I think it's been enough time where I can see again. Let's try. And so we got in the car. And then I remember sitting and it was dark and there was a field in front of us. And I remember sitting and going, well, I can't really see right now. And so I think we're going to have to sit here for a minute. And my friend says, I know what you mean. And I was like, I mean, I can see, but what's happening in front of me is, and how I would describe it was like, it was like a wall of translucent but also like iridescent, so there was color and they were definitely like spirals. It was in motion. I could see through it, right? It's not like I could see the field in front of me, but it was almost like a sheet of spirally a veil. And that's what later in life I was like, is that what the veil is? Did I see the veil?
I have seen the veil.
That's what I feel like every time she tells a story.
Yeah, and because it was induced with that type of medication, so the psychoactive effects of that, which is utilized now oftentimes medicinally and to break through, and it is utilized. There's different things like now ketamine is used for treatment of depression and anxiety, medicinal mushrooms. I think LSD sometimes, so it's interesting now, like to fast forward to where we're at now. And I was just like this teenager experiencing with things and like seeing the veil. And then now I'm like looking back and I was like, man, that veil is thin.
That veil is thin. So a couple of things, like boop, boop, boop. Few things. One,
Mitsubishi Galant.
Mitsubishi Galant. You know you're a 90s kid when you know somebody who had a Mitsubishi Galant. Who had a Mitsubishi. Just in general, Mitsubishi 3000. Oh, that was a car. I remember the pizza delivery guy came one day. I was like, he got a Mitsubishi Galant, not a Galant, a 3000. What happened to the 2,999 before that? Don't even know. So one, yes, Mitsubishi Galant. Two, the veil. I have a couple of theories about this and it'll go really quickly. I think because of a similar experience that I've had, but with mushrooms, you were actually with me, seeing the trees and seeing like the trees across the street and seeing that tree that is across the street as like a program.
I remember.
It was like a program that was just running. I was like
it was pixelated.
Yeah, pixelated. And then I started to look around at the other things and it was the entire, you can just see it. You can see like this overlay of almost like this layer of inorganic. Right? Like the organic is still happening, but there is this layer of something that is on the top of that you can see once you release whatever is released.
The drip.
The drip. Yeah. The release drip. Once you release that. So yes, seeing the veil, seeing through it was like, this place ain't even real. Look at it. Two, I think it's also a philosophical idea. And I think the veil is actually when we talk about the veil thinning, it's like our exposure to whatever exists on the other side, right? Yeah. But also the veil that exists within ourselves, within our own minds, right? The veil is thin. We can see things, we can perceive things, we can contemplate things that we never contemplated before. So squiggly things, right? You don't know what you don't know until you know it. Your favorite.
You don't know what you don't know.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. cut him some slack. Path of
Appreciate
water.
it. It's
I
stuck.
know.
It's stuck.
It's stuck.
Yeah,
It's been
it's stuck.
popping up so much. So you don't know what you don't know until you know it. Squiggly things. I felt like there was a moment where like it was cognitive. I was watching cognitive dissonance happening like on like in you. Like wait the fucking second. You mean they call those floaters? But then also that might be some shit.
I was like,
Okay.
let me sit with this.
Hold on, I'm gonna sit with this for a minute. And so back to like those three signs, I though that combination of signs, particularly with the degrees that they are, denote high empathic and psychic abilities. And I've had them for a long time, but I didn't know.
Mhm.
I thought that everybody was just walking around hearing other people's thoughts and like under knowing exactly what they were thinking like all the time. I thought that that
Mhm.
was the case until like I started to realize like people don't necessarily want to have their thoughts be heard all the time. And some really choice encounters that I had with people that were like, oh, that doesn't happen to everybody. You don't hear those things. So a lot of that, like veil thinning and all of our perception of the world around us, contemplating and thinking about like what, and we're not fixed to, please don't have your astrological sign. It's not an excuse for you to behave like an asshole. And I say that for everybody because there memes abound. I get lost in them. They're my favorite. The astrology memes are my absolute favorite because a lot of them are spot on. But most of those are said in jest, and we are complex, nuanced people, individuals, beings. And so getting caught up in what some sign says about you is like, blah, blah, blah,
No,
right?
so many complexities
So
as a
many
human.
complexities,
Yeah.
right? But also, there seems to be a template or
I
a
know.
blueprint.
Sagittarius. Whee!
Well, the arrow and the pull and the horse and the freedom and the
Mhm.
fire and all of the things. And then you have fire and air in your chart. And then Gemini moon, I mean, that's a whole other flex. Which
It
side
is.
which side am I gonna be
It's
on
bad.
today?
It's
Today,
challenging.
95% of the time, this is how I live with somebody, a small person who is a Gemini sun and moon. So he's like 95% of the time over here, perfect angel. And when I say angel, like actual angel, came from heaven to deliver us all the information. His 5% was on fleek Saturday. That fine 95% over here, 5% was like, can't even look at, I couldn't even look at him. I can't look at you. No! Oh, oh, I see all of that. I'll take that 95. You can have your 5, but your ass can sit over there with your 5%. So I get it. I feel it. I understand it. And then also living with a Libra, it's always like
Yeah.
whatever it is, it has to be justice and it has to be balanced. This is not right. This is not equal give and take. This is not an equal flow of things, and this is also not pretty enough. Make
Yep.
it prettier.
Pretty spot on.
Pretty spot
Yeah.
on. Let's make it fair for everybody, and that's not even to think about you're writing that whole grant. You're like, what the hell are you going to say?
God.
You're writing that whole grant application, and what was coming up over and over again that I saw in the writing was three. Like there's this concept of three and how
Mhm.
special it is between us. That Aries rising that runs between the three of us
Because
and
it's
how
the
we
same.
show up.
It's rising on
Yeah,
all of us.
yeah, yeah. Did you not know that?
It's like I knew that we all had
Yeah,
Aries, but I didn't realize
yeah.
it was all
Oh,
rising
it's all
Aries.
rising. This is
Yeah,
how we
that's
show up in the
fun.
world.
This is
Yeah.
But also, let's create some shit. Fire is deeply transformational.
Yeah.
And it is something of that you can take things and burn it the fuck down
let it smoke.
and let it smoke and let it do all of these things, and then regeneration comes from that. And so I think we definitely have like I really, really, it's almost as if it's divine. combination of like our makeup
Speaking
of
that
all of the
past life
things.
stuff.
Oh, past life. Dang.
40 minutes in.
40 minutes in, we got to it. We had to build it up. We had to set it up so we could knock it down. Nice segue, by the way. High five on the podcast with the segue. Sometimes we know. Okay, three things. When I say past life, eyes on your own paper. Do you have paper? I'm gonna give
I
you
have
paper.
paper.
Do you? Okay. Eyes on your own paper.
I think I already knew what you were gonna ask in the first. Never mind. Just go.
What were you gonna say?
Don't look at
Just
my
the
paper.
first thing that pops into my head. Just ask your question.
Okay.
It's just-
I'm gonna look at this first. Oh, cat spirit.
Meow.
Wow.
I'm at cats.
Put a pin in the cat that you sent in the group text.
Oh, I will because
Good God.
yeah, that's fun.
His head.
It's beautiful.
He's big. Okay, cat spirit. Claim your independence.
Oh, I like it.
Don't forget. When I say past life, what are the 3 words that come to mind? Do not edit yourself. Eyes on your own paper. Write them down. Oh God, I already can't say one of them.
Mine's within 3 words though.
No, only 3.
Just a singular word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well I'll scratch that one.
Oh Lord.
See, I could have
Well,
done some
'cause I
editing,
did
but I'm
this.
like, nope, I'm going
But
with
this
what
is like
you
because I
did.
have more than 3. See, I had this 1st,
Uh-huh.
this 2nd. So I'm just gonna take that out to
Okay.
make that one word,
Okay.
right? And then I'll probably like do that one
This
like
is
that.
so Elizabeth of you. I love it.
I'm like, but I have to make it a different way. I know what you said the way was.
Bitch, I know what you had said.
But then I had to do it
I
this
want to
way.
do it this way.
I had to do it
And
this
I don't
way.
want you to tell
And
me what to do.
I don't until I come back and I go, if I could just listen to what y'all said the first time.
Probably would have been easy.
Except for now, like all this time later. I got it.
Did you do your 3 words?
I got 3 words.
Okay. Do you want to go?
Yeah.
Okay.
I put trauma, healing, and power.
Oh, interesting.
It was funny because before you asked the question, I
Uh-huh.
got it.
Mhm.
And trauma came up before you even asked
Ding!
the question. I was
Yeah.
like, well, gotta put that one down.
Ding, ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding. The
Enjoy.
slot, you hit the jackpot. Egypt, money, longevity.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I had connection, contract, DNA.
Ooh. DNA.
And just for the people in the back, I had deep connection, contract, DNA, memory. But then we needed just 3 words, so I just went with connection, contract, DNA.
What when you say, ooh, okay, all right.
She's like,
They're like, bitch, we want in. We want to talk to.
like pull it out.
Tell us. Let us in. When you say connection, what is that? Where is that? What is that tied to?
To me, it's the stardust. So, like when you talk about the collective and spirit, like spirit is like a creator, and then we're just all like the explosion stardust of this creator, right? So, connection is the stardust particles that we all are through all space and time. That's what connection is.
Stardust
Particles.
And so, how does that fit into past lives for you?
Because it's like it's
The
happening
music's
at-
on downstairs.
It's
That's what's
happening all the time. Like it's all happening all the time.
It's all happening.
So you talk about like
all the
past
time.
lives, but to
Oh.
me, if we're all stardust and connected, like everything's happening all the time.
Have you spent a lot of time thinking about past lives?
I've spent some time thinking about it. I haven't gone deep into it. I think mostly I'm just trying to figure out my lifetime
right now. But here's the
It's-
thing
so-
also with that, there are so many, right? It
Yeah.
could get like stupid. You could get real dumb with it.
I gotta stair step.
Yeah. But there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of explanation for us in those past life things coming up. Like sometimes we'll be sitting there and this one, Queen Elizabeth.
We've joked, and I feel very something there's there. There's something, I feel very something's there's there.
I think so too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because it'll pop
For
up.
sure.
They'll be like, you got that queen vibe. Or if somebody will be
And
like, hey, queen. And I'm like, yes, every time. Address me that way, please. Thank you.
I'm serious about it too.
And people who just met you, not in queen like a trendy term, like
Right.
will call you queen as in like an energy they're picking up on.
And that's what's interesting. It's not the name. It's because Elizabeth, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but it is the energy they pick up on.
Yeah,
It's
and a lot of
funny.
times most people that meet you know you as Liz anyways.
That's
so
true.
it's like there's
Yeah.
not really even that mental connection.
No.
It's fun. And then we've talked also about my inner conflict about have I surely was a queen at some point or expected to be treated. Pretty sure I was. And then what happens is in this life here,
Yeah.
I'm not living that life. And
Yeah.
so it's very conflicting because I'm like, why don't I have servants? Why is this not getting done for me?
Why do I have to do this? Why don't you just say yes? Why do I even have to ask?
Off with the heads.
It's like when I say, I've joked before, but when I say that like I've seen you. I see you. I know that is an aspect of it. And in this life, this time, we've had this conversation before about how maybe there might be an aspect of this queen life that you live that was not becoming.
I think I did some bad things to people.
I think
and
there
I
is some
carry a
things.
lot of shame and guilt here in this life because of that. And I think I can connect it to, you know, when you talk about trauma, like things that perceived trauma is like the stored energy, right? So like I can think about it back to like shame and guilt based off of like this experience as a child, this perspective picked up, blocked, stored that there. But really more broadly, it feels like I'm carrying that from another experience that I'm not quite aware of what it was.
That karma,
Because I don't want to be harmful. I have like a big thing about like not wanting to be harmful.
People because you are the executioner.
Off with the heads.
You're the executioner of the harm. Pun completely intended. That's what's happening this week. I asked that because we are wrapping up so much karma and moving into like we are emotionally preparing ourselves to go into Leo season where a lot of our past life we're resolving karma now, but we are become more aware as we move into Leo season of what those past lives were. It'll start to drip into there's your drip, right?
I'm excited.
It's going to drip into our consciousness and then we'll start to kind of move. I felt myself definitely felt myself moving in a way that is so much more related to the lives that I've lived and incorporating them into this one. I feel it.
And
I feel
it feels more
happening.
balanced.
Oh
huh?
God, it feels so
That's
much
what
better.
I feel like
I'm not
I'm
fighting it anymore.
Like finally this time, I feel like finally I don't know how else to explain it. Finally this time, like I'm sitting in the seat of awareness and I'm like, I'm excited. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Cause I have been really doing a whole lot of work and I do feel very different now within myself, like in how I'm navigating and the ability to maintain that inner stability, like no matter the outer turmoil. And it's just exciting, like to feel in preparation for it. Because in the past, when like you said these things in the past, I'll be like, I don't miss this train, y'all.
Oh my God!
I miss this one, okay?
Waving your hanky.
I got too many bags. I got too many bags. Y'all just keep going. I'm gonna catch you next time. I'm gonna catch you next time.
I'll see you on the flip side.
And just funny enough, just for woo woo shit, is that my left ear just started like it closed in and started ringing. Wee.
I love it.
Sounds like just like
I love it when you get a physical confirmation of something, something to kind of dive into a little bit later on. It's
fun.
good.
I like that.
So, of your 3 words, which one stands out to you the most? I feel like I'm not gonna lead.
Well, I mean, it's weird that trauma came before you even asked the question.
Sure, that's the one that came up. I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably
So
you.
probably that.
You really want to talk about your back?
Probably. Like, at what line did I break this? Shit.
I
No.
think it's
No.
all like really physically. When I they're like, okay, now do shave.
Yeah, please. Work on this neck.
They're like,
Did you tell me how to reverse this?
you are physically processing this trauma. So it did not surprise me not one bit to hear you say that the work that you
That it
had
came
done this
back.
morning. He was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no explanation for this. No, because you don't work in energy.
No.
You work with the body, you work with anatomy. There is an entire other being that exists within you,
Yeah.
right? That is
Mhm.
just stardust. That is just like our etheric light body makeup.
Yeah.
And it is like blossoming into who you are right now as you sit here. And so a lot of that, like unfolding and unfurling, and like the feelings that you've had, and some of the things that we've talked about before with the what's developing like within that you can feel in your physical body, along with that comes a lot of trauma release. And so I think to counteract that, at least this is what's coming in to counteract that, right? Yes, it's good to have that to be worked on physically in that way. First of all, I think you should see Katie.
And I do want to say the chiropractor is amazing, and he
Sure, of
even
course.
today, there is an aspect. I haven't had a long conversation with him because this
Mhm.
is the main doctor at the office. He's not the one that I normally go to for adjustments.
Mhm.
They work as a team, so it's happened before, but it's not the norm. But I told him that when the back flares up, I feel like there's certain muscles that I can't even fire, like that I can't
Mhm.
use. And I was like, I don't know if that's just in my head. And he was like, nope, that's that internal intelligence stepping in and protecting you from doing more harm.
Mhm.
And so they are really great
Mhm.
about that. And I still, of course, want to see Katie because her work
Yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah.
But I do want to give them credit on, I feel like if I had the opportunity and the time to open up that space for a deeper conversation, that he might
Oh, for sure.
have some
Would
of
be
that
able.
stuff in his bag too.
I mean, I think that the
At least
best
the perspective,
Pers-
perspective from that realm, you know.
right. I think people who work on bodies and are adept at working on bodies, whether it's subconscious, conscious, acknowledged, or goes unacknowledged, there is definitely some very deep knowing of what's happening within the body on multiple levels.
Yeah,
So
that's very true.
I yes, Katie is our friend who does fascial stretch therapy, and if you don't know anything about fascial stretch therapy, FST, um, it's quite beautiful. And it really works to release a lot of trauma that is trapped within the fascia of the body. Interestingly enough, synovial sarcoma, which is what my husband died from, is cancer of the fascia.
The connective
And that
tissue.
connective tissue is what houses and holds our emotions. And so when you dial it all the way back as to why it was, cancer for us was like a lightning bolt, like it just struck, right? But the more that I know, and the more that I unpack, and the more that I know about him and his history, so much history, this life and other ones, um, it only stands to reason that he would have that kind of cancer, and his tumor, where it was housed in the lungs near the heart. That's all you need to know. That's it right there for sure. And probably lifetime. So when we think about not, yes, it's important. I mean, yes, in this present moment to process whatever it is that we are working through here right now in this body that we live in here, but also you are simultaneously processing and working on. And if you are aware of, do not be afraid of, and don't look away from you processing and undoing a lot of what it is that you have endured in past lives, because we carry that shit over.
And I'm
In
open
the
and I am
quantum.
digging
Mhm.
in right now. Like I
Mhm.
am seriously digging in right now. And I feel like important, especially when we talk about like the grounded aspect or whatever,
Mhm.
is if there's anybody who is very skeptical, this is what I like to sort of bring attention to, is that holistic healing, right? Holistic, it's not just exercise and food, it's what you take in audibly, it's through your sensory, it's through
Consumption.
your
Mhm.
spirituality. All
Mhm.
those things are holistic healing, right? And I love listening to people who have channeled something, right? So there's a few people like I follow on, like subscribe to on YouTube, and I always just think for the skeptics out there, even if you don't believe that that's possible, and this is just like an intelligent person who has the gift of gab, who is saying these things and claiming that they're hearing it from another entity, just listen to what's being said though, because
Mhm.
it is so helpful. Like the
Mhm.
information is extremely
In
helpful.
some cases, right? We know that I have my own,
Well,
like,
I'm picky about where I open up
that's a big
to.
piece. Tell them about that.
I'm real picky about where I usually I've heard a recommendation, or I follow someone, yeah, usually through a recommendation
Mhm.
of someone who I trust as far as like what to listen to.
Man, because some of these yahoos out here do not have your best interest at heart at all.
No.
I definitely feel into
Mhm.
anybody I listen to if there's somebody new. Like, okay,
Mhm.
what is my body doing as I listen to this? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna just have it on in the background if it's somebody
Mhm.
new. I'm gonna like
Mhm.
actually focus on it, see what my body is telling me about that person or that particular message, and then act accordingly.
And
So
by
Yeah.
sometimes
God,
that's keep listening, and
sure.
sometimes that's like turn it off.
Consistency is big for me too. Is like seeing them, like
Mhm.
watching them over a period of time, and
Mhm.
then seeing that they're like unwavering with
Yeah.
the things that are coming through. So that's
Mhm.
helpful for me to understand too. But I usually pull from recommendations from people that I
Who
trust.
is your favorite
Um,
in
well,
this
I
kind of work?
mean, the ultimate is like
I
Dolores
was like,
Cannon. That's like the
yeah.
queen bee, right? Of channeling, and hers was fascinating to me because it was her. She was doing offering hypnotherapy, so she had like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these patients, and over time, she recognized that there were specific things coming through, like consistently throughout all these different people. So that's
Mm.
fascinating to me
That
too.
she
Fascinating.
built
Yeah.
her theories off of.
Yeah,
Then,
yeah,
yeah.
and was able
Yeah.
to extract this information. So she was one that was never very interesting. She was one that was never a channel. You'll never hear her say that she was a
Exactly.
channel, but she
Yeah.
was a facilitator to help people come into a space where they could channel
Mhm.
subconscious
And then she just
information.
relay the
Mhm.
information that
Mhm.
she gathered
Mhm.
basically, and
Yeah, a
she'd
lot of her
relay it.
books are even just like dialogue, like
For
her
sure.
line, the client's line, like
Mhm.
back to
Mhm.
back, which that's I like
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fascinating. And then you see this grandma sitting up on the stage
that.
asking for
It's
her
like, how can you
Coca-Cola.
deny, how can
Giving
you
these
deny?
out of this world
Yes,
transcripts.
yes.
The
She
other
comes from a
one,
military background. The whole thing is like
yeah.
it she was set up for, and there are some things that I will say that I'm not quite sure that it works that way, but the majority of her teaching, I feel like, oh, that's accurate AF. That's real. That's
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
One that's been helpful to me, but I can't ever remember the name of it. I tried to share it with, so this is not helpful to anyone else besides myself. But I even tried sharing it with Shay, and I was like, I can't remember what it's called. But you hit a long time ago. What, giving?
Oh, giving voice to the wisdom of the ages.
Yes,
Yeah, I love that on
because that
YouTube.
one. So it'll be like this fella who has a real soothing, comforting voice.
Yeah,
And he'll
magic.
like channel, yeah, like the Archangel Michael. That was the one that first got me on it.
Man, that was
But
definitely
he talks a lot about different like ascension things, and so it's cool to hear, because oftentimes I just like to keep it real open with as
sure.
far as what data I'm gathering, and so
Mhm,
like I really don't close off to any information that's coming through that seems valid and that
mhm.
resonates with me.
Yeah.
And so I kind of don't care what container it comes from. It is a feeling.
Yeah.
It
Right,
is a
for sure.
feeling. It's
Gotta
a it's
vet
a
it. Let your
For
body
yeah.
you
do the
gotta let your
vetting. Yeah.
body and your like intuition do the vetting. It's interesting that you bring that up because I haven't been checking in with giving voice to the wisdom of the ages because there was something that came up on that channel that I was like automatically like,
You felt it was weird. Yeah, there was a
I
couple
can't
different
do
like
this.
series I went through that I
Yeah.
liked a lot.
Of course, the
Mhm.
Archangel, the Michael ones are great. The Yeshua, the early years
Yeah,
one are,
that
oh
whole one. I went through the whole
gosh.
thing. It
Yeah,
was real
it's
good.
good. There's
Yeah.
another one that he does. I cannot remember. So he is essentially reading work. He's not channeling. It's very similar to Dolores. It's interesting that you pick kind of the
That
same.
don't maybe directly channel, huh?
Mhm.
That's my
Yeah.
cynicism side. It's true. And that's why I say to the people who may not subscribe to this kind of thing, like just stay open because there's some
It's so
useful
stupid.
stuff.
And
Yeah.
opened it up with, man, I love a channel.
And then I'm like, actually, just
You're like,
kidding. I
"It's
don't
not a
really listen to
channel."
anybody who channel shit.
It's not a channel other than me, and that's like super low key.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
The there was something about that, the giving voice to the wisdom of the ages, or something that came up. It's not
didn't
really.
know.
Oh, he chooses work from that was channeled from people like down through history. Like he'll
Gotcha.
go back
Okay.
and back and back to Napoleon Hill, and of course I can't think of any of these writers right now. Philosophers, they're not writers, they're philosophers. Which I mean, that's channeling for sure. If you want to get really, really down to it, it's drawing information from up there, from the ethers, from your higher self, and bringing it down into filtering it through you. And those of you who are really into the Bible, what do you think the Bible is?
It might be channeled information.
It's definitely. In
It's
some
definitely
cases,
channeled
channeled
information.
information.
I'm just put that out there. So those of you who are getting messages, just encouragement for you too. Like you probably have some really, really good juice in there that you need to share with people. And we are the books now. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
I have a
I
question for
like
you.
that. We are the books.
We are
Yeah.
the books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So
For
let's write some.
sure.
You grew up with a
That's
lot of
awesome.
religion in the
Mhm.
household.
Mhm.
Do you remember any scenarios of stuff like people channeling messages or anything like that coming up, and what your mom or your church or anything, their views on that?
Like what their view, like did they ever
Mhm.
address it like
Mhm.
from the pulpit, what channeling was?
Yeah, like as an example, I remember as a little kid one day, some kid at school, like I had to be like single digit ages,
Mm-hmm.
said something about reading my palm, and I was like
Mhm.
all excited and intrigued
Mhm.
by it. First I'd ever heard.
Mhm.
Went home telling my mom that a kid at school taught me about reading palm and that, all
Mhm.
about it. And she like very much shut it down. Like,
Mhm.
no, that is not something that we
Mhm.
mess with. That is
That is
not,
not of God.
yeah.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I'm curious in
Did that
regard,
ever come
yeah.
up? Definitely with like the tarot cards and things like that. That was a unspoken, spoken, unspoken. No, no,
Okay.
no, no, bitch. We don't do that. Because like fortune telling and palm reading and anything that has to do with future telling
Mhm.
really is not something that Christians traditionally
Mhm.
are, are supposed to kind of mix it up with. And I
Yeah.
understand the logic behind it because it can get really sideways if you do not have, if your heart is not in a place of it's almost like non-attachment. Like if you are not in a sovereign place within yourself to receive information, you're just going to take whatever anybody has to tell you and consume and consume and consume that information. And before you know it, you don't even, you're so turned inside out by all of these other thoughts and thoughts of the future and like
Yeah.
what that's going to be like and all of these potentialities that exist when we're actually just called to be right here in the present moment more than anything. So I do understand the logic behind that, but also the other end of that aspect, there's a couple of things that have to do that come to mind when you say that. The first thing that I saw was, what do you think preaching is?
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, they take some notes and then it comes straight off the top, and that is the word of God.
Mhm.
One. Two, there is so we don't know what we don't know until we know it. And there is so much information to be gleaned about this entire operation, this universe that's happening here. An entire universe. our mitochondria. We are the god of our mitochondria. We are the
Mhm.
god of ourselves, you know. There's a whole other aspect. There's many other aspects of ourselves that exist like within this body. We are just now, I feel like, learning how this machine, this beautiful vehicle that we have been given, even operates. That's how complex it is. How many lifetimes? How many lifetimes have we had bodies? And we're just now like starting to remember like how to move them and the things that we do. Also, my number one grounding practice is booty, period, hands down. How to, and that being grounded in that space and movement is the thing that really has helped me to understand like, I have the keys to this ignition. I can turn this shit on. And the more that I ground, Stuart, I hear you. The more that I ground, the more that I can be in touch with whatever it is that's happening there and run it through my internal system, my checks and balance system, in order to not be swayed by the kid on the playground with, you know, palm reading,
Yeah.
and to recognize the integrity or the disingenuousness of that. I will tell you, we did go out to the trees and practice light as a feather, stiff as a board. So there was that. And I
Dang,
did.
I haven't thought of that in so,
So
long.
And I may or may not have on occasion, twice in particular. One time I left a party because of this, mess with the Ouija board. One time full on. The second time we messed with it, something flipped over. There's some cup flipped over behind me, and I was like, bye. I can't mess with y'all. This is too real for me. I'm gonna go home and see stuff in my closet
We
that y'all
freak
don't even
ourselves
deal
out
with.
all the time with all of the above.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was even a Bloody Mary thing in the
Oh,
mirror.
for
Yeah.
sure.
All kinds of shit. We scare the shit out of ourselves.
I mean, but now knowing what I know,
I know. It's like
I'm not messing with that.
It's like those are all have like little hints of truth, like
They really
mirrors,
do.
portals. Like
You can't.
there's
You
a little bit of truth in there. I don't know where it comes
you
from.
ain't catch me
but
closing the door and turning the light off in the bathroom trying to conjure.
No, not
Something.
somebody like that, anyways.
Have
No.
that shit walking around with me.
I've seen the movie Candyman.
I'm scared of toilets for a long time because of some Candyman and bees of all things. How are they gonna demonize bees? Rude.
I know.
Hollywood.
They catch
They
enough
ain't right.
shit.
They catch enough shit. One flew straight into my hand when I was downstairs. I was like,
It's like,
"What is
high
that?"
five.
Oh, hi. Boop. Okay.
No.
Let's go about it. Let's go get it. Egypt money longevity. It is what it is. I have a feeling that I'm about to understand a whole lot, and a whole lot of secrets are about to be revealed to me, both here and up there. The dead people came to me in my dreams last night. If there is a person out there with the last name Harris, I know somebody very personally who has this last name, but I have a feeling that it is not just this person. Somebody with the last name Harris or first name or association with Harris, they want you to know that they are sorry for their treatment of you, and that you feel free to live your life in peace from now on. That's what came through. And then I woke up and I was like, listen, you know, how am I supposed to feel? Of course I'm scared. And the they, them, those, that's, you guys know that that's what I call my guides. They were like, see, she done asked for us to show ourselves, but she's scared. She's scary still. And I was like, yeah, somebody came to my dream and told me something. And I was supposed to, it's the acknowledgement that in our dream state, you want to talk about controlled surrender. You're just privy to all kind of information. And then have for however long, 6, 8, if you can get 6, 6, 8, 10 hours. Oh, 10 hours sounds beautiful. For 10 hours, where do we go? Exactly.
Lots of weird places.
Girl,
right
I'm trying
now.
to get there right now. I need a nap.
I know. So we'll save that for another show.
I haven't seen 10 hours.
The
in a
dream
while.
girl, a whole thing.
rolling on that 6, 7, and I'm more like a 8, 9, just catching up.
You are a 8, 9. She a 10. She a 10. um, I almost said parting shots. Like this is Jen Rome. I used to listen to a lot of sports
I'm
talk
like party
radio.
shots. We got whiskey.
Party shots.
Is it
God,
happy hour?
I can't mess with that brown
No,
liquor.
I know.
And it had been a minute. Boy, it's been a minute. I'm looking forward to what's gonna happen this week. I'm hoping to carry this same kind of excitement, right? Like you said,
Yeah.
it's funny on my Instagram post yesterday. I found a picture that I hadn't seen in forever, and I was like, well, damn, I love that picture. I put that up there, and so I put it up there and was like, oh, I remember what I was doing. It was like straight up like that, like we get taken away and taken off the path by allowing things into our lives like pork and gluten. We allow them to come into our lives and we just subtly, right? Insidious doesn't necessarily have to be evil. It's just like taking your eyes off of the goal, whatever the goal might be, which is peace for me and happiness. Taking my eyes off of the goal um, for that at the expense of somebody else. And then I saw that picture and was like instantly transported back to where I was mentally in that moment and was like, oh, shit, I remember. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
That's
fine.
good. Yeah.
I'm doing okay. I am that bitch. It's okay.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
recognizing along the
Yeah.
way like where we've come from, where we're progressing to, the
Yeah.
work that we have done, acknowledging that
Yeah.
instead of just looking at all the things that we lack or that we need to do or that we haven't done yet or that we really are too tired to do right now and not focusing there but focusing and reminding ourselves of like this glorious being that we are walking around here, the god of our cellular structure, the queen out here.
Yep.
Just reminding ourselves of what we need
Just
and do.
remember,
And
I
how good and look at where we're coming from. Look at what we've learned from. Look at how our perspectives have changed and look how we are capable of continuously changing our perspective and learning more and adapting and growing and all that.
you touched on something that I'm just gonna say. Here's my parting shot. Not whiskey. Whiskey. Is that honestly the catalyst for me, like my weight loss, body transformation, all of those things was recognizing that I continue to be right now the god of this vessel, and I would talk to myself and be like,
Mhm.
listen, everybody, we're gonna let these things go. Some of you, fat cells, it's time to move on. I've held on to you for long enough. I would like literally talk to my body in that way, and it changed
That's a real
everything.
Yep,
flex.
I do it.
Yeah, that's a real flex.
Oh,
I need to talk to mine more often.
talk to it. Tell
Joe
it.
Dispenza has a whole thing on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Like he healed his whole body. That's his whole thing.
Yep.
Is
Yep.
like how the
And his
focusing
broken
and
back.
changing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you're saying it.
Talk,
Circle back.
right? Talk to it.
And
Yeah, I
rebuilding
do.
it
Yeah.
and break it down
Yeah.
and rebuild it.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then
And
the second thing,
visualize
yep,
it.
is to be grateful for how far it has taken you to this point. So
Yeah.
give it just it's the same. It's the same. Like we have God, Mother God, Father God, the universe, source, divine beings, however you want to categorize all of that are mm, we don't have any control about over what happens here, but we do have control over this. So whatever, like however we are in relation to them, we are also in relation to our own body. It's a trickle down, as above, so below. So be the god of yourself. You know what? I would really like for my thighs. I need all of these these cells right here. I love you, but we don't need you anymore. It's time for you to go away. I'm gonna love you up. I'm gonna drink some water and I'm gonna let you go because I don't need it anymore. What's happening right here in this solar plexus, as we come into this space where we are commanding. Chris Witecki had some really interesting things to say, very aligned things to say about the heart and the solar plexus and what's actually happening right here. Talk to it. talk to your energy centers, talk to all these parts of your body, give it love and gratitude and grace and compassion. Allow compassion to just flood your entire body as we wash through and move through these things. And at night, before I go to bed, I ask my guides, I ask Michael and Yeshua and Mary and Sandalphon and Gabriel. I called on everybody last night. Raphael, Link, all of them. Just work on my body, please. Have my body feeling tip top so that I can be of service, of the greatest service that I can tomorrow. When I stepped into class today, boom, let's go.
Done.
What we gonna do?
Yeah.
It was a great class. We need only remember. We need only remember.
So I got this gold solar plexus.
Nice.
Solar plexus has come up over and over and over and over again. Yeah.
I mean, when you
That's
start
a
to look
It is
at
my
big
human
part of what
design part.
society,
Mhm.
human beings are working on.
It's interesting.
As a
Yeah.
species.
Yeah,
mean,
the whole species.
it's our own galactic center. It is our sun.
Yeah.
It's the space where our gut, our lower brain, and our heart come together. Like this is how we decide. This is how we make choices. Our intuition and our heart right here. So it is like the most important part of like our actual physical body, and then you know the energy that's around that and how we're building up. It has been definitely the most neglected, the most attacked, other than our sacral.
Our
And
inner
our
authority.
root. I mean, you take away the root and the sacral, and then you're like, fuck all the rest. You ain't have to do shit. That's why they mess with kids the way that they do. That is another story. I love you guys. Thanks for riding it out and working it out today. Yeah, love you too.
Yeah,
A
love
lot, a
everything.
lot, a lot. Let's do one of these. Let's do like a this guy that's
The cat. I can't share a picture of him because I don't have
There
the,
they
I don't
are.
have the oh nice.
I was looking for that.
But this cat she was talking about earlier, I
I only
did
got
share
one
the
of these.
picture with Adrian and Shay because it was like a new client of
Aw.
mine. I went to meet the cats. Only one cat came out. The other one I got a description of and found his hiding place, knew where that was. And then I get to the house for the first visit and I sent them a picture of this cat because the most majestic
I mean,
domestic cat came out from his hiding place just to tell me hello. And I mean, he was giant and had these like lion paws, lion stride face. He just looked at me like, "Rawr." And it was fascinating.
What's
I
his
sent
name?
them-
love it.
His name is.
If you tell me it's pinky or some shit.
Chuja.
Oh, Chuja.
Chuja?
Yes,
Damn.
which I'm
What is
not
that?
sure what that means. Let's look.
Oh,
Wow.
That's Chuja.
Apparently, it means I am courageous, steady, and strong.
You can't make this shit up,
But
y'all.
let me look. I will see, just out of curiosity.
Okay. Oh, okay. So these are the guidelines I think that we need to conduct
Oh, I like
ourselves
this
with for
part.
this week.
Okay.
While
this
you're
is
looking
helpful.
that up, you do your thing. Proper rest helps me feel and look my best, and
Yep.
conscious eating nourishes me. If that ain't the truth,
Yeah, that's what that shout out Casa de Luz.
Casa
on
de
that
Luz and
one.
all the fruit and all the watermelon and all the good water.
Mm.
Shout out or rainwater, all of the good things. I want to read this proper rest and helps me feel and look my best because I have a feeling that this is necessary for the people. 34 comes to a 7. Also, just so you know,
11.
oh, 7 and 11. Get it, get it, get it.
7-Eleven.
Infinity. Get it, get
7-Eleven.
it, get it. And those of you as we're moving from Cancer into Leo season, protect Leos at all cost.
Hmm.
That's our heart. That is where heart stems from. That is true. This is true love right here. Okay? And as Venus moves into Cancer, we are really in this space where we're really kind of getting in touch with that, getting prepared for that. I think it's going to be a big one. We're not about to go through it. Rest. Proper rest is key to keeping our eyes bright, our skin clear, our vibe high, and our magical powers on point during our waking hours. Your body and spirit want to rest so that you're restored and feeling your best. You don't need to earn your beauty sleep. You deserve it and thrive with it. You'll feel more stable, make healthier choices, be more focused, and have more energy. Slow down and welcome a sweet, restful phase to enter your life. Sleeping well at night or adding in necessary naps during the day will help subside imbalanced emotions, roller coaster cravings, and kick your body's healing system into full gear. Be sure to make time in your life for sleep, rest, and relaxation. It's a vital part of true self care, which in turn impacts your presence, service, and success in the world. Restore and nurture your inner and outer beauty. Yes.
Thank you. I feel that. I'm doing it.
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna do it. And conscious eating nourishes me. Don't eat bullshit. I did it to myself. I did it to myself.
Right now, when I'm gonna go get
Man, something good.
Something probably raw.
Something wrong. Something straight up out the ground. You want to talk about grounding? That's it right there. Just land. Okay.
That's what I had before I came here.
Where are we at? How are we doing?
We're good. It's 3:30.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
3:31. So we might end on 3:33.
Anything you want the people to know before we go? Only wear a shirt if you have to.
Take your shoes off.
And take your shoes off. And don't listen to what the world tells you have to be. You be you. Amen. I love you. Yeah, I'll do it. Okay.